And in the final expansions today, we're going to be having a look at Hordak, the Evil Horde.
This journey began as a conversation about 80s nostalgia and why we felt that He-Man was the perfect idea for a wargame. Simon had a very similar idea. My name is Jason the Bruce. I've been a critic of Simon, and this is my journey into the Masters of the Universe, Clash for Eternia.
Alright, and here we are with the Evil Horde. This is our last of our major expansions today. Videos following this one are all going to be exclusives, because we're looking at the terrain after this, and we're looking at Castle Grayskull after this. Here we are with the Evil Horde. This is the last of our major expansions today. So this is Hordak's faction. This is another one where it's basically just a miniature expansion. There's no scenarios in this, so that is disappointing. However, in saying that, the last box that I looked at like this still managed to impress me. Perhaps even a little bit more so than the ones beforehand. The expansions have been really, really good, and up until this point, realistically, the expansions have probably been a little bit better than, like, miniatures-wise, than some of the original content. I don't really know why that is. Maybe they made improvements to their sculpting during the process. Maybe it's just coincidence. It's kind of hard to say. But it's going to be interesting to see how this is. So, initial impression is essentially the same as the She-Ra one, but this is something I find very interesting. I wonder if that was a deliberate choice. I suspect it has to have been. I doubt they've done that by accident. It's a nice touch. I like that. Boom.
Sorry to interrupt the video, but I want to tell you about the competition that we're running through our Patreon. For every month of support you give our Patreon, from now until April, you will receive one entry into the competition that we're running to win a Shaltari fleet for Drop Fleet Commander. That includes a Shaltari Dreadnought, a Shaltari Starter Set, a Shaltari Frigates box, and a Shaltari Cruisers box. All of this will be sent to one winner. This winner will be drawn at random on our 4th anniversary, which is recorded at the beginning of April. For us to be allowed to send this to you, you need to fit 2 categories. You must be living in a country where it's legal for me to post you something from Australia. You also must be living in a country where it is legal to win competitions. If you do not live in a country that meets these criteria, then I do apologise. There's nothing that I'll be able to do, and I will be forced to redraw it. Please consider supporting us. We'd really appreciate it. All of this was purchased with my own money.
So, here we have our tokens. Nice simple one, kind of similar to the She-Ra one. There wasn't really much on that. There's not really a lot on this either. However, I want to bring attention to these for a very big reason. In all of my previous videos, I've talked about these and not understanding why we have tokens to use instead of the miniatures. Because to me, that doesn't make any sense. CFed, a YouTube user, commented on the Box of Power video, letting me know that these tokens are to be used on the health tracker, so that you can keep track of how many health points everybody has. So the use of these was completely different than what I expected. Now, had I have read through all of the rules prior to recording these videos, I probably would have known that. But the way I try to record these is quite deliberately first impression. So thank you very much, CFed. I did leave a comment thanking you, and I did say it wouldn't be until this video that I got to correct myself on that, because that's the order that I've been recording things. Lovely artwork again, though. And here's the thing that's really starting to stand out to me on these. All the way through, the backing on these for the artwork has remained consistent, which means all of them feel like they belong together. I really like that. I really like that. On the back, it's more of the same. There's no double sides on this one. Much like the She-Ra box, we have 3 different sets of cards. Again, This is the same controller and player cards that we've seen before. So this is all skills and abilities that get added to your characters as they power up. I won't be going through these individually because they're just not a lot of point. We've already essentially seen what these are in the original box set. Obviously, different characters have different abilities, but I don't think we're here for that. When I come to my final roundup, if you want us to go into a little bit more detail on these, or perhaps give opinions on some of these, then I can try to do that after the fact, after I've had a chance to actually play the game properly. Let me know what you think. So, we have our Horde Trooper. This is a minion. So, very similar design to the Trooper that we saw in one of the original boxes. We also have our Horde Wraith. I love the design of that. That's amazing. An elite minion. This is the only elite minion we've had, I think. And Shadow Cage, which is a terrain piece. That's what the tokens are. Starting with the AI first, we have Hordak. Love the artwork on Hordak in particular. This is absolutely gorgeous. Really, really stunning, that. Hordak's always had a really, really cool design. Very much, like, I don't know if it's inspired by, but it very much feels like a Lich type design to me. Again, I don't know if that was a deliberate choice. I'm sure there's information out there that would tell us whether it is or not. Crossbow. Again, lovely artwork. Leech, probably not my favourite of the original toys. I do remember him though. Just kind of on that really silly level of silly. Catra, very big character, this one, especially in the modern day show. If you know where the modern day shows, you'll know why I'm mentioning this in particular. She becomes a very important part of that. Moduloc, another classic. I always like there's a really evil looking head and then just a really dense looking one. Like he just doesn't look like he's paying any attention at all. Grislaw is a really, really cool looking bad guy. He just looks all kinds of vicious. Don't remember the toy at all, really, but just really gorgeous. Shadow Weaver, another classic. Shadow Weaver was a huge part of the show. Really, really gorgeous artwork again. And then we come into the player versions of the cards. So the artwork on all of these remains the same. That's been the same across the board. Hordak actually looks really powerful, actually. He's got a Horde Staff. Really, really nice. Catra. Mantenna. Grislaw. I'm having much more luck with these ones, getting them to come up the right way. Leech. Obviously, if you're wanting to read through these power and know exactly what they do, feel free to pause the video and read through it. I'm just kind of browsing through at this stage, as I have for all of the other videos. One of the main reasons for that is a lot of these were talked about in the actual updates themselves. So I don't want to waste... I mean, these videos tend to be quite long already. I don't want to waste time reading through all details of things that you have probably already gone through for yourself. And then finally, we have mounted. So, Hordak on Mantisaur. I don't remember Mantisaur as a toy either, like at all, in any way, shape or form. Looks really nice though. The one-sided nature of this has been the same for all of our mounted cards. We will be coming back to look at Mantisaur later. Alright, so here we have one of the Horde Troopers. For a minion, like the details on this are absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you could probably forgive them if they were like skimping on the details for such a minor character, but they're really not, which is really good to see. The the detail on these continues to impress. Like before, there's 2 different versions. There's 4 of each. So these have been consistent across the board. Really, really nice detail. Really, really impressive. Exactly the same layout, just posed differently. And actually, the good thing is that they are actually posed differently. For a second, I almost thought like it was just flipped, but it's not. And then we have our Wraith. There's 3 of these, but they are all the same. Obviously, it wasn't worth making them have different poses when there was only 3 of them, I suppose. And also, keep in mind, I mean, this is a board game, not a war game. You don't need to have unique poses for everything. And hell, a lot of war games don't even do that, quite frankly. This might be, I think this is my favourite trooper from the entire set. And by a long margin. There's even a little bit of a face in there. Slight curve on the staff. Not too bad, but still worth mentioning. Here we have Leech, and he literally looks like his toy at this point. It just looks like the toy. Because he's even got the suckers and everything. Nice representation. I don't know about the detail on the face. So, detail of the face, like it's very clearly like teeth, and yes, there is like details in here, but this kind of just looks like ribbing. It's kind of, I mean, there are teeth there, but it's really, really soft. So it all just kind of blends in together, unfortunately. That is a shame. I mean, it doesn't make it bad by any means, but it's certainly one of the weaker sculpts that we've had, at least in its final form anyway. This guy, however, brings things back. Always a really weird design, this one, but it is a lot of fun. This is one of those characters where you kind of felt like somebody dared them to make it. or dared them to make it work. Montana. Oh, he's actually got 4 legs. I didn't actually notice that at first. Because they're from front on. If you just pick it up like that, it's actually not, until you start turning it, it's not really obvious. Good sharp detail. Really nice. Shadow Weaver. Looks a little soft in the cape around her face and stuff. I mean, it's the detail's all there, but it's cloth, so I guess you're kind of expecting that. Really, really nice. I think the Wraiths look a little better, though, honestly. Compared to their boss, I think the Wraiths put her to shame. I mean, this isn't bad by any means, but everything feels very soft on this. Nothing soft about Catra, though. Catra looks vicious. And has nice, sharp detail. So we've got nice, sharp detail in the fur, which is good because that hasn't been sharp in all of the sculpts. It's been quite soft in places. But it is quite nice here. It's weird that some of them are really nice and sharp like that and others are just really soft. It has to have been the way that they've been designed. Some of them have just had more time spent on them, I think. Grislaw, however, is all detail. This is really, really nice. He's a big boy. Just for comparison's sake, he's not actually huge. It's just that he's really wide. But this is the man that's the important one for the box. And they've done well. Honestly, they really have. Sharp details in the coat. Weird spot. Oh, it's just a bit of dust. Probably the worst for warping that I've seen so far, though. That is what you would normally be expecting to get. I'm probably lucky that I've gotten this far through before I've found something that bad. And for those that haven't been watching the full series, like, these are just normal, like the materials for this are normal board game material. You should be expecting this. If you don't get this, you should be surprised. If you put them in some warm water, you should hopefully get it to come back straight, but they do tend to have a habit of going back in the direction that they warped originally. But you can get them to straighten up again. Hordak looks gorgeous, quite frankly. And yes, highlight of the box. But what's his mount look like? In comparison, yep, he's another decent-sized mount. Detail-wise, honestly, yeah, looks good. Mantisaur is kind of a really weird-looking mount. And it's one of those things that's it's hard to get him to look right, in my opinion. But they've done really well. There is, however, once again, a hole in the box for the exclusive. Now, if you buy this at retail, this will not be in your box. I'm sorry, but you've missed out on this one. This did not come in my box. I put it in there for the video. I love that. It's just so nice. It's not actually exactly the same pose. I was expecting that it would be. It's a little bit more simple of a pose, honestly. Because he's just kind of standing there, which is what the other mounts have been as well. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a criticism. But it is something I feel like I should be pointing out. Like, he's just standing there. And that's fine. Honestly, like, Mantisaurs are really weird. It's really weird. And that's kind of the appeal of it. But they have managed to get Mantisaur to look right. Alright. And that's the last of the expansions. Now, honestly, at the end of this, I think out of all 4 of the expansions, it's the She-Ra and Evil Horde that take the crown here. I mean, the disappointing thing is that both of these don't come with any extra scenarios, but miniatures-wise, they feel like the most complete set, providing you get both of them. I think if you're going to buy one without the other, you will be disappointed. I do think from this perspective, if you're going to buy them, you kind of need both. And the fact that they, like, when you sit them side by side, everything lines up the way it does was a really nice touch. I assume it has to be deliberate. Probably one of those things that someone was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to see if anybody actually notices. So I did notice, if that's the case. I've been very, very impressed with everything that I've seen so far. Look, not all of the sculpts have been winners. Some of them have been weaker. And that's fine. You expect that from a board game. And we're talking about cheaper materials here. So not everything is going to work out. But I've been very impressed with what I've seen so far. There was a bit of a discussion in one of the groups today as to whether we feel like the game is going to be getting a second round or not. And I don't really know if there's more that they could do with this. Other than maybe we could get some stuff from Revelations. Maybe we can get some stuff from the updated She-Ra series. As much as I know that there's complicated legal stuff with She-Ra. But it'd be interesting to see what we could do. Maybe we get Space He-Man. I hope not. Because I don't think anybody enjoyed Space He-Man. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes, though. And that is ultimately the end of the day. So, from here, for the next videos that you will be seeing will be the terrain videos. It's important for those of you that didn't back this Kickstarter that you need to understand that all of the 3D terrain was Kickstarter exclusive. You're not going to be able to buy that in stores. Your only chance for that stuff is going to be aftermarket. And you may not enjoy aftermarket. If you decide to go aftermarket, generally speaking, you're better off to do it earlier than later. But I guarantee you it's going to be filled with people that's trying to rip you off right now. So, don't pay more than what you feel the items are worth. You won't be buying any of my stuff.
You've made it through to the end of another video. Your next mission is to hit subscribe and comment down below. If you'd like to reach out to the team, consider doing that, gettingtabled@gmail.com. Consider subscribing to our Patreon. For only $2 a month, you get early access to almost every single video that we do. Our most active social media is facebook.com/gettingtabled. It's where you'll find everything first. There's also a Discord. There's an invite on screen right now. If you type that in, it'll give you instant access. If you're on Twitter or Instagram, you can find us at gettingtabled. It's not the most active, but it's something we're trying to use more all the time. Come and check out Jason the Bruce at Twitch. He does both video game and hobby content. And of course, without question, play more.